I'm Paige Severe, if you're new to my account. I'm a natural makeup specialist for women over 30. And today I'm going to show you how to create this beautiful eyeshadow look, how to not be afraid of color, and some tips and tricks for your eyeshadow so it's beautifully blended, highly pigmented, and so you don't feel like a clown after you do your eyeshadow. And I'm going to be using some colors from Seint's brand new Advent Calendar that's now available. It's like a $43 savings. You get all these shadows. Well, this is a liner, so minus the liner, you get all these shadows, and you save 43 bucks. And they are gorgeous. These tins are huge. They're gonna last you like years, so a little bit goes a long way. Anyway, I'm excited to show you how to use them because I know some of these might look a little intimidating, but I'm telling you, when you use them the right way, they're gorgeous. So let's dive into it. So tip number one, first things first, okay? Priming your eyes will make or break your eyeshadow experience. If you want to get that really smooth, pigmented, blended look, you've got to prime the eyes and get a nice even base. So one of my favorite tricks for priming, you can use honestly any eyeshadow primer, like Urban Decay has a great one, but I just love to use a demi shade because the demi tins are a little bit thicker in consistency. They're not quite as loose as the 3D color. So I'm just gonna take some demi shades here and I'll let you know what the names of the eyeshadows are as I go along. Okay, so this is just 01. So this is a cream demi shade. Probably used a little too much, but that's okay. And wow, way too much. We're just gonna like put this all over the eye. I just use my finger. You can use a brush if you want, if you don't like getting it on your finger. Okay. So step number one to priming, and then the next step is you want to set that cream with some setting powder. So I just use Seint's Vanilla Dust. This is what it looks like, okay? And it is a, what's the word? Like a condensed powder. So I'll just like take my finger and kind of ruffle up some of the powder, and then I'll put it on my eyeshadow brush. I'm gonna tap off the excess, and then I just blend that all over the top of that 01 demi shade. So now we've got this really nice, smooth base to work with, okay? Most important step. Now, the next step in a successful eyeshadow look, let me get a little closer here, is to use what I call a transition shade. And your transition shade is usually like a warm or a neutral color that's going to help everything blend really seamlessly. Anytime that you're using colors that have a lot of blue or just a lot of pigment like purples, blues, even dark browns or blacks, you really need something a little bit warmer to build on. So I'm gonna use this new color here. This is called Dream. I'll swatch it on the back of my hand for you. So this is what it looks like. This is a really great neutral, not super warm, not super cool. And I'm just gonna take the fluffy side of my brush, again, tap off the excess, and I'm just going to add that right here into the crease of my eye. Right above my crease, actually. I have kind of deep set eyes. I have a really strong brow bone, so I like to come almost on top of that brow bone because you don't want the color to disappear when you open your eyes all the way. So you can see how you still see that color up there, right? So just sweeping it all along, and now we've got a nice base to build upon. Okay, and then what I like to do is I will take the small side of this brush, use that same color, and I just kind of bring that color along the bottom because the same thing, I want that warmer color to build upon, and it just makes blending so much easier. It just makes it look better. I don't know what it is about that magic, but it just looks good. Okay, all right. Then step number two is I usually like to add my darkest color at this point, and then I'll kind of build and blend the shades upon that, okay? So I am going to use this new color here. This is called Eternal. It's like, let's see, how would you describe it? Kind of like a cranberry shade. I'm gonna swatch it for you. Isn't that so pretty? Very pretty cranberry shade. Okay, so I'm gonna use Eternal, and I'm going to take the small side of my brush, tap into Eternal, and I'm just going to add it here on the outer corner of the eye. I'm gonna bring it up almost onto that brow bone section here. Because again, you have to think about the shape of your eye, and when you open your eye, you wanna be able to see that color, see? So I might even need to bring it up just a little bit more. And I'm actually going to add a little bit here. I'm gonna do a halo eyeshadow look. So a halo is essentially where you have your darkest shades are on the outer and inner corner of the eye, and then your lighter shades are in the middle. So this is actually a great technique if you're someone whose eyes are like really wide or far apart and you want to bring them closer together. You're gonna add darker colors on the inside because that's gonna create the illusion of just closing the gap a little bit, okay? And then I'm just gonna kind of sweep like this and blend. When you use a dark color, make sure you start really small and then build your color on top of it so it's not hard to blend. And if you over apply or you're like, gosh, I just used too much and it's not blending and it's like sticking to my primer, all you gotta do is just take a little bit of that setting powder I used in the beginning and just wash it over the color and it will help blend it out. Or you can even use a little bit more of your transition shade, okay? All right, so we've got that dark color. Next up is I'm gonna use this beautiful color called Lili. It's like this lavender pink color. Oh, hold on, wrong finger. I'm swatching on this hand, okay. Oh, it's like so smooth and silky. See, she's very subtle. I know she looks really kind of scary in the tin, but she is so pretty. So we're gonna put a little bit of Lili, and I like to use my fingers. When I want some more pack or punch, I'm gonna use my finger for this part because the oils in your hands will just naturally kind of, you know, warm everything up and just make it adhere really well to the skin. And don't worry, yes, I will save this to my feed. Okay, so we're just going to take that Lili and we're just gonna pop it right there in the center. And if you get some eyeshadow on your lashes, it's not a big deal. I prefer to do my mascara first because I don't like getting mascara in my eyeshadow. Okay, so we've got Lili. Isn't it so pretty? Oh, I forgot to tell you, by the way, we're just kind of mimicking whatever we do on the top. For those of you who are just hopping on, I'm using the new colors from the Seint line. This is all available in an advent calendar and they're all powder. Okay, so whatever I do on the top, I'm gonna do on the bottom. So I'm gonna take that darker Eternal shade and I'm gonna add a little bit to the outer edge and a tiny bit to the inner corner of the eye. And then same thing with the Lili, I'm gonna put it in the middle. So I'm just mirroring the top. Okay, all right, now my next step is to add shimmer over the top. And I'm using this new color. This is called Oona. She's a very pretty shimmery purple. And again, because these are so pigmented, they can look really intimidating in the tin. But once you put them on and mix them with other colors, oh, they're just so pretty. It's like the prettiest shade of purple. If you have brown, green, hazel, honestly, this, I mean, I have blue eyes. This would look good on anyone. It's so pretty. Okay. So I'm, again, because I am wanting more of that punchy pack of color, I'm gonna take my finger and I'm just going to apply that over the top of Lili. And then I just kind of spread it around. Okay. And then I will just take my eyeshadow brush, the small side, and I'm gonna add a little bit of that shimmer to the center part of my lower lashes. It's really subtle. It's kind of hard to see on camera, but just kind of add that along the lower part. Okay, and then at this point, I can kind of determine, do I need a little bit more pigment? I'm trying to kind of mimic, okay, I see that I've definitely got a little bit more of that reddish brown going on up there, so I'm just gonna add a little bit more of this Eternal shade up here and over here, and just match the other side. So again, just starting small so you can build and add more if you feel like you need it. And sometimes I also like to kind of mix that shimmer with the matte. And what I love about this look is that even though it's a shimmer, it's so subtle that if you're someone who has more mature skin or you're starting to experience like the wrinkles or the creasing on the eyes, this really is very subtle. It's mostly matte colors. You've just got one little shimmer in the center and it's not like this crazy glittery color. Okay, all right. I like it, I think it looks good. I think it's matching the other side. So now let me show you my trick for a really easy eyeliner. I personally am not a big fan of like a heavy liner on top of the lid. I feel like that just closes the eyes. It kind of ages you, especially if you're someone who has a hooded eye. Do not do a liner on the top of your lid. I always suggest tight lining if you want more definition, just adding some liner underneath the lash line, or doing this technique that I'm gonna show you right now, okay? So this is Seint's new brush. This is called the Etch brush, and it makes lining a breeze. It is so amazing because you've got this nice straight line and it's so soft so it doesn't hurt. And so I'm just gonna take this and I'm gonna dip into this cream liner. It's called Black Friday liner. And I'm just gonna tap it on both sides. I'm gonna have to use my mirror here and try and show you guys this at the same time. So I usually just follow the corner of my eye and I line it up with the edge of my brow. So that's kind of my map for where I'm drawing this line, okay? So come from the corner up to the edge of the brow, and then literally you just kind of flick it out and draw it out. How easy is that? And then from there, you can kind of connect or fill in the dots. So from here, I'll just kind of come down just to that point, and I can add a little bit more if I want to fill it out a little bit. But man, cream liner just, and this little brush just makes life so much easier. And it's so easy to clean up if you make a mistake. Okay, so there's my liner. And then what I like to do is I will just take the same side and come over here and just kind of tight line on the inner corner of my eye. Just creating this really pretty kind of almondy shape. But again, it's not heavy, it's not the full eye, so we're not like closing everything off. And then to make it a little bit more dramatic, you don't have to do this, you could just stop at this part if you wanted, but I like to just kind of come and tap along kind of the top of my lash line here. And just add a little bit more definition. Hold on. I need my mirror, you guys. This is really tricky to do on a phone. But yeah, just following my natural lash line. And then you can just flip it over to the other side. Whoops. Went in too far down there. And then you can just kind of smudge it out. I personally just prefer, and I love the look of a much kind of softer liner look. I'll either use the eyeshadow or I'll use this Black Friday cream liner because it just looks so much softer on the eyes. Okay, so smudge, kind of clean it up. And then you can just take a brush and kind of clean up underneath if you feel like you need it. And then at this point, I will add my mascara. So I use, this is the, it's from Oliver, I think that's how you say it. I don't really know. I get it on Amazon. It's a 4D fiber mascara, and I just love that it doesn't smear. It dries, so I don't get like that horrible raccoon under eye. And I always just kind of take off the excess before I apply, especially on my lower lashes, because I don't want a ton of product. Just want to barely add a little bit there to the lashes. And I love that just using that little line brush just kind of looks like you really just kind of have that mascara effect. And again, it doesn't look like a heavy liner. Look at how crazy long it makes your lashes too. So don't use it if you don't want a long lower lash look, but I love it. I think it's so pretty. And I would just kind of start at the bottom and then work my way up a little bit. Keep it super light. Okay. And that is how you do a beautiful blended eyeshadow look and dressing it up with a little liner, okay? I'll just show you the full look. I hope it looks good. Sometimes it's hard to see on the phone. And again, the colors that I used Dream. Well, I'll show you on my hand. So I used Dream, and then Eternal, Lili and Oona, and then the Black Friday liner with the Etch brush. So, well, that's a multitasker, just kidding, this is the Etch brush. So if you guys have any questions, or if you want to be color matched for my all-in-one makeup palette that I use, you can just go to colormatch.pagesevere.com, or just check out the links in my bio, and in my stories I will link this advent calendar that is such a good deal, saves you so much money, and gives you such beautiful, beautiful colors to play with. Okay, I hope you guys have a good day. I'll talk to you later. Bye.